Problem number 5. A brick is thrown upward from the top of a building at an angle of 25 degrees to the horizontal and with an initial speed of 15 meters per second. If the brick is in flight for 3 seconds, how tall is the building? So again, this is another problem where we've got to take a look at which components that were given and try to determine from those components what we can solve for here. So the first thing is that we are given a velocity initial of 15 meters per second. The next fact is that that brick was thrown from the building at an angle of 25 degrees off of the horizontal of the building itself, and that the time of flight for the total travel was 3 seconds. So taking a look at this, first let's take a look at which components that we can derive. If we look at the vertical components, that in the velocity in the y direction, we know that based on an angular relationship that the initial velocity times the sine of the angle will give us the y component initial. So we happen to have those two values. We know that the initial velocity was 15 meters per second, and we know that the angle that it was thrown was 25 degrees. So the sine of 25 degrees gives us 0.423, and we multiply that times the initial velocity of 15 meters per second. So we have the upward component at the 25 degree angle that the brick is moving, what velocity it's moving at 6.34 meters per second. So now we need to choose another expression then to help us solve for the height of the building. So to do that, let's look at the expression that says that the height, or y, is equal to the initial velocity in the y direction times the time, which in this case is the time of flight. From that, we're going to subtract then 1/2 gravity times the time of flight squared. We have all of these values. There's nothing we have to solve for other than the height of the building. So we calculated the velocity in the y direction as 6.34 meters per second. The time of flight then 3 seconds given in the problem, and then again we carry the time of flight on the other side, this other expression for 1/2 the gravity times time squared. So we do the multiplication, do our squaring, divide through by 2, we get 19 meters for the first term minus 44 for the second term. When we take the difference of those two, we get a negative 25 meters, which is the distance in the downward direction of 25 meters. So the building was 25 meters